Morning. So in your manifesto, you promised a growth plan which would include hospitality, which is an important part of London's economy. In fact, last year you had a press release about how important it was and how brilliantly it had recovered from the pandemic. Obviously, that was when we still had a Conservative government. Under the Labour government, the national insurance increase is a hammer blow to hospitality and other low-paid industries or industries with low-paid staff. What steps have you taken to lobby Labour to correct their damaging national insurance increase?
Well, it's important to look at the complete picture and to ask the question why there's been an increase in national insurance contributions from employers, and it's because of the inheritance from the government he proudly supported. So the government's got to address the issue of the huge deficit they've inherited, and the two ways to do that is to reduce expenditure, basically speaking, or to increase revenues. And that includes finding additional ways to raise.
Morning began with a sharp question about promises and priorities, as the manifesto once promised a growth plan built around hospitality, the beating heart of London's economy, now struggling under a heavy national insurance increase. The Speaker pressed hard, calling it a hammer blow to restaurants, hotels, and all low-paid workers. The Mayor responded calmly, saying it was vital to see the whole picture, that this rise came from a huge deficit inherited from the past government, and to fill that gap one must either cut spending or raise revenue. He admitted it was tough for small businesses, but said City Hall was working to draw more customers, boost local events, and help the sector survive through a summer of economic strain.
Revenues. We've seen over the last 2 weeks concern about some of the measures to reduce expenditure with concerns around welfare benefits, and you're articulating some concern around the increased national insurance contribution. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not going to pretend that it's been easy for the businesses he's referring to, because he's right. If you're particularly a small business, it's quite difficult to add to your national insurance burden that you've got to pay, and I know how difficult those businesses are finding it. What we're trying to do from City Hall, with the powers we have, is to support them by making sure they've got more customers and they do better, to address the issue of the additional overhead that they've got to endure. That's one of the reasons why I'm really proud of the plans we've got this summer to help the hospitality sector, alfresco dining, some of the events taking place during this summer, because I recognise the challenges you articulate.
UK hospitality say that since the budget, the sector has lost 69,000 jobs. Many of those will be in London. It's a huge part of the London economy. They point out.
The debate heated as facts surfaced. UK hospitality reported the loss of 69,000 jobs, many from London, and workers earning 25,000 were hit twice as hard as those on 150,000. The critic called it an unfair and badly designed tax, but the Mayor defended the decision, acknowledging its flaws yet stressing that the government faced limited choices. He said alternative ideas like a wealth tax came with their own risks, and insisted that the Chancellor understood how important the hospitality industry remained to London's recovery and global image.
That staff member on £25,000 a year has been hit twice as hard as someone on £150,000 a year, such as yourself. It's just a badly designed tax rise. Forget the reasons for it. It's not a debate about that. That tax rise is badly designed and hits low-paid people worse. Why aren't you lobbying the government to reverse it?
Because I recognise personal experience, consequences of a poor inheritance. And what the government's seeking to do is a challenge that I recognise, which is try and fill a black hole. And so, as I said to you, there are two ways they can do it. If the members suggesting other forms of tax-raising powers like a wealth tax, I'm sure he'll find colleagues on the Assembly who may agree with him. I recognise the challenges of the wealth tax as well, but we know there are consequences of any additional tax raising provision from the government. I'm sure the Chancellor will be listening to the representations he makes. The Chancellor was with me on a visit to a hospitality.
Pressure mounted as the Speaker accused the Mayor of refusing to challenge Labour's job tax, of criticising welfare cuts, but not policies that hurt workers. Businesses were struggling under record tax burdens, yet the Mayor stood firm. He said he was proud to be pro-business, meeting with London's leading companies daily, and offering every bit of support possible. He shifted the blame toward Brexit, arguing that the true cause of hospitality's decline was not national insurance but the hard exit from the European Union, which had weakened trade, tourism, and staffing pipelines across the city.
Venue in London recently, and so she knows the contribution they make towards our city. One of the reasons why I suspect the government is so keen to devolve additional powers to us, whether it's licensing, whether it's provision around Oxford Street, or other issues, is because they recognise that we can, support the national economy more if we get growth in London.
So you refuse to challenge Labour's badly designed jobs tax. Institute of Chartered Accountants this week published their business confidence monitor, came out yesterday. Quote, April's increase in national insurance contributions resulted in concerns about tax burden reaching unprecedented levels. This is among businesses in London. Why aren't you challenging the Labour government's badly designed and badly targeted national insurance?
I mean, the biggest reason all these businesses are struggling is because of a policy that he didn't once criticise, which all these organisations were against, which is the hard Brexit. And so we know a bigger factor affecting hospitality, bigger factor affecting these businesses.
The conversation turned to the National Health Service, where the speaker reminded the room that the same tax increase funded NHS investment £29 billion more each year, delivering millions of extra appointments. And cutting waiting times to a 5-year low, the mayor agreed that healthier citizens created a stronger economy. He spoke about the damage from 14 years of austerity and how new funding was finally restoring essential care, reducing backlogs and lifting productivity. When workers are healthy, both families and businesses thrive. He said, linking human well-being to economic strength.
Is the hard Brexit, which is why I welcome the approach taken this week with closer alignment with our closest allies, France, and closer alignment with the EU, as well as trade deals with the EU, with India and USA. We shall support those sectors a lot.
I mean, that's just false. From the ICA survey, it says the tax burden remained the greatest growing challenge cited by businesses in the second quarter of 2025. I think what's striking is that you're very willing to challenge the Labour government when it comes to benefits, but you're not willing to challenge the Labour government over people who want to work, who are losing their jobs, people who are looking for jobs that no longer exist because of the NI. Do you not think that speaks volumes about your priorities?
Well, look, I'm somebody who's incredibly proud to be a pro-business man. I spent yesterday evening with some of London's finest businesses, Business London event, and afterwards with some leading businesses across our city who do a huge amount to support the national economy. I understand the challenges businesses are facing in relation to...
Focus then shifted to the wider picture of fairness. The speaker listed expanded school meals, affordable housing schemes and homelessness prevention plans as signs of genuine progress, asking how this new government had helped fulfill the mayor's pledges. The mayor praised the partnership, citing £11.7 billion for housing and long-term commitments for health and infrastructure. He said these investments restored confidence among councils and developers, allowing them to plan ahead and give Londoners a chance to stay and build their futures. He promised to keep lobbying for more resources, but acknowledged that progress was real and measurable.
The prevailing headwinds, and I'll do what I can to support them with the powers that I have.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't involve disagreeing with the government's stupid and regressive tax increases. I'll leave it there, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And you referred to poor inheritance, but one of those areas that the government did inherit that was in a mess was the NHS, which the national insurance rise is contributing towards. And you spoke about the fact about having to make difficult decisions, but also it's important that you have the funds to pay for services and balancing your budgets. Money raised through this change has been vital in providing the additional funding for the NHS, and since the election, NHS investment has risen by £29 billion a year, helping deliver over 3 million extra appointments and bringing waiting times to a 5-year low. They're going down every month. Now think about the Londoners that are waiting or have been waiting on those waiting lists, with 15% of London.
The mayor then delivered a defiant message, calling the critics noise and distractions. He said London's real story was about resilience and renewal, that the London promise was simple: work hard, and you deserve a fair chance to succeed. He framed collaboration with the national government as the only way to rebuild trust and growth after years of division, saying that leadership meant more than arguments, it meant action and partnership to deliver visible results for ordinary people and small businesses across the city.
Living with long-term health conditions. How is this helping to reduce inequalities in our city?
Well, one of the big issues, anybody who's employed people in the private sector or meets with businesses regularly, is the issue of productivity. It's very difficult to be productive when members of your team are off because they're unwell, physically or mentally unwell, waiting for an appointment, waiting to be diagnosed, waiting for treatment. So it's really important to recognise the consequence of 14 years of austerity, whether it's policing, whether it's the health service, whether it's lack of affordable housing, whether it's schooling. And by this investment from the government, record sums in just a year, what we're already seeing is reduced waiting lists, improved treatments, and that will not just improve the quality of life of those individuals and their families, but lead to increased productivity as well. I think the health of the economy is intrinsically linked to the health of individuals in our city, and that's why.
Attention turned again to job creation. The Speaker reminded him of his pledge to generate 150,000 good jobs by 2028, yet unemployment was rising, and even Greenwich faced potential losses. 70 positions at the Trafalgar Tavern were at risk due to council action on alfresco dining. The mayor responded that he had already reached out to the council, promising to share updates and ensure the iconic venue and others like it were supported through fair discussion and community engagement.
It's really important that we recognise that the inheritance meant not just massive deficit, but also lack of investment in infrastructure and in the public sector.
Thank you. And free school meals, expanding breakfast clubs to £29 billion a year for the NHS that I mentioned, but the £11.7 billion for the Affordable Homes Programme and the £100 million on homelessness prevention. This is a huge difference to what we saw previous government, which was frankly more of a chaotic tea party, except one of those probably has more adult supervision. Can you shed some light on how this government so far has empowered you to deliver on your manifesto pledges?
Well, the thing is, I mean, if people want to use the word woeful to describe the massive investment over the last 12 months, I'd love to see what is generous. But we are lobbying for resources which we are receiving from the government. Sometimes we will get what we want, sometimes we won't, and I won't be afraid to speak up for.
The session closed with mutual restraint but clear tension. The Speaker asked to be kept informed, and the Mayor agreed, saying he would provide written updates and continue coordinating with councils and business leaders. His final message was steady. London's strength lies in partnership between City Hall, the government, and its working citizens. Only through that shared effort could the city recover, sustain growth and protect the promise that defines it, a place where hard work still leads to hope, an opportunity